Well, I just want to first say thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us with this amazing conference. And thank you to my colleagues, Amy, Stephanie, and Piper, who have put together just such an amazing group of offerings. I'm so honored to be able to share my time with them and this time with you. So thank you, thank you. So I'm going to ask a question. Where were you 28 years ago? 28 years ago is when I realized that the food, farming, and healthcare systems were broken. 28 years ago, I was wishing for a hot shower, not just for me, but for my whole village. I was living in a casita, a tiny home, before they were cool or routinely called tiny homes. I lived in the countryside of Paraguay in a small pueblito named Arroyo Terere. That name, Arroyo Terere, loosely translates to the Creek of Cold Mate, which is a locally grown tea in Paraguay. My 200-foot casita was attached to the slightly bigger health post, where I served as a health extension volunteer with the United States Peace Corps. And I know that there are many other Peace Corps volunteers, or RPCVs as we call ourselves here. And maybe you can relate to this. My sun-bleached, peeling, white clapboard, tin-roofed tiny home had one spigot of water up front and one in the back. And the one in the back was this makeshift shower, and it was all fed by a gravity tank system from up the hill about 1 kilometer away. 6 glorious months, I had electricity to both my casita and the health post, which allowed for 2 light bulbs and an on again, off again heating element in my shower. However, I was reminded by my neighbors on a weekly basis to never, ever touch the heating element in the shower or risk being electrocuted. So as a result, I still took mostly cold showers. I was aware even then how much my running water was a luxury. Most of my neighbors took sponge baths with well water or bathed in the local river. And I thought that the river bath would be a great, fun, romantic idea until I learned that the river had 2 hidden dangers. The first danger was anacondas. I believe they'd be easy to avoid because they're huge and they tend to shy away from groups of people. And as a result, very few folks went down to the river alone. Cautionary tales abound, beginning with the day I arrived in my site to start my 2 years of service. I was told that just the week before, an elderly woman, now mind you, she was reportedly 53 years old, which is my age now, but this elderly woman made the fatal mistake of going down to the river by herself with some water for washing. An anaconda struck, constricting her to death before devouring her. The story read that half of her body was found sticking out of the snake, which wasn't able to get her all the way down, and it died also in its effort. The second danger is the candiru, which is more than 100 times smaller than the anaconda. This mythology is equally as enormously frightening. It is a small parasitic catfish that it is said senses if a human or another animal is urinating in the water. It then follows the stream of urine up to the urethra and takes up residence by anchoring itself in place with spine-covered gills. Whether true or not, everyone bathed in their underwear or in a tight fitting bathing suit just to be safe. As an all agricultural-based village, the need to bathe was critical, often overlooked. Some of the challenges were as big and looming as the anacondas, and others as small but as scary as the candiru. Many of the farmers or the landowners for whom they worked had been convinced by the corporate profit-driven sales pitch from agrochemical multinationals, some of which we heard about in the Vandana Shiva movie earlier this week. And they were arguably the biggest snakes in the field. The input companies extracted the little wealth the farmers had by promising that their products would improve yields, thwart pests, and improve their economic standing. Of course, none of those promises were realized. The companies provided the farmers, usually men, who took on the pest management role with these often faulty, leaky backpack pesticide applicators, also like we saw in the Vandana Shiva movie earlier this week. But what wasn't mentioned to the farmers was that the steady drip, drip, drip of the toxic chemicals down their backs was soaking into their skin, into their underwear. Without access to proper showers for bathing, the men shared this toxic residue with their wives and partners whenever they were intimate, with their families who often slept in the same sheets. At the microscopic level, like the candiru, these toxic chemicals were quietly accumulating on the cervixes of the women in my village, as evidenced by the statistically significant high levels of cervical cancer that we uncovered through pap smears at my health post. We reported our results, but after reporting our results, what followed were the denials or diversions at every level. Well, coincidence is not causation, they parroted again and again. Well, the benefits, the higher yields, the fewer pests, they outweigh these presumed and let's remember, still unlinked costs. Nobody wanted to take responsibility. Even more distressing was the unwillingness to look into, let alone address, these core causes of illness. The health department didn't want to venture into the fray, and nor did they want to provide any assistance or treatment options to the recently diagnosed women. My neighbors and friends were frankly too poor to warrant their attention. 28 years ago, it was my first time glimpsing the enormity of the complicity and the collusion of big agribusiness, healthcare, and politics. It wouldn't be my last. What I didn't know was about the same time, halfway across the world, Denise O'Brien and Kathy Lawrence were busy planting seeds in Beijing at the United Nations Women Conference, planting seeds of awareness, planting seeds for policy, and planting seeds for change. They already saw the connections between women in agriculture and food systems, justice and ecology. They knew that there were myriad interconnected global challenges, from water access to seed saving rights, toxic agrochemicals and monocropping, and perhaps more importantly, a patriarchal hierarchy that renders women invisible, silencing our voices, wisdom, and leadership, even though we and our children consistently bear the brunt of the externalized dangers of these systems, especially in communities of color. A few years later, seeds that were planted in Beijing germinated and took root with the cultivation of other founding mothers that are here with us at this conference, including Denise, Betty Wells, Danielle Worth, and Jean Els, becoming a network of women dedicated to co-creating a just and ecological food and farming systems. In 1997, WFAN was established, initially with the support of the Tides Foundation, for whom we will be forever grateful. Over the past 25 years, with the help of our other amazing supporters and donors, our programs have grown in response to the needs of members, you as members of WFAN. Last year, we relaunched our membership model to return to our roots and expand our community based on intentional, energetic support of our mission, vision, and values through donations of your time, your talent, and your treasure. Thank you. While money is absolutely essential to run our programs and operations, we moved to this donation-based membership model. In other words, we ask that you give, please, at the level and in the manner that feels significant for you, with the knowledge that we accept your gift with true gratitude and commitment to responsible stewardship to grow our programs, advocacy, and membership representation. In this WFAN's 25th anniversary, we have set a special conference week fundraising goal of $2,500. We hope you can help us meet this goal through your donation today. You can go to the donation link, we'll put it in the chat, click on it, tell us who you are, and share whatever you can give to help us continue to stand up to the metaphorical anacondas and candiru, the dangers that still lurk throughout our food and farming systems. Your support can help us meet our $2,500 goal to work against the forces that threaten clean water, destroy the soil, pollute our air. Together, we fight the root cause of the issues harming our families and livelihoods, greenwashing carbon pipelines, and denying land access and justice to our communities of color. You have the power to make a change, and I promise you it won't take 25 or 28 years. Thank you for coming together and co-creating a better world, and for cooperatively seeding and healing our communities. And thank you for your donations. And just this morning, Jean Els made a donation and is allowing me to share with her why she supports WFAN. She said, I support WFAN because it provides a big umbrella for work to be done that we can't find through funding sources because it's so much on the leading edge. And I know that my gift provides vital unrestricted funds that match for grants and even work that is just plain important to be done, which is pretty typical of Jean to say, just plain important to be done. I don't know if there's other folks in the room that can share their why or would be willing to share their why. Piper, can you let us know how we're doing and where people can donate if you can put the link in the chat?
Absolutely, Jules. So I will drop the link in the chat here, and I'll get our thermometer going. It looks like we're already at $425 for the hour, which we so appreciate. And it's gonna just make it easier for us to continue doing programming like this. So I'll give everyone the link to donate. I'm dropping that in the chat now.
And I also want to thank Patty Naylor's here. And Patty, you've been a huge supporter for many years. Can you give us a brief why, if you're comfortable with that?
Hi, certainly, Jules, I'd love to. Yes, I've already donated this morning because I do believe strongly in this organization, and I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. I first joined the organization probably 15, maybe even 20 years ago, before I even moved back to Iowa. I am an Iowa farmer now, and I joined the board of WFAN, I believe in about 2013. I was on the board for about 5 years, and it was a wonderful experience. One of the things that is so important is just being able to meet in person. I'm glad we can do this because so many of us can come together in ways that we wouldn't be able to otherwise in person, but I really enjoy the personal meetings that we have. A couple of lessons though that I have written down about WFAN. One of them is about communicating. It's a very important part of what we do as women. Dr. Angie Carter had a project several years ago called Storyboards, and I participated in that. It was a great experience, a new way for me, a new way of communicating some of the things that we talk about here at WFAN. Also about organizing. Angie and another board member, Anna, were very instrumental in bringing together a coalition of people here in Iowa, different organizations from different areas, fighting against an oil pipeline, the same one that went through Standing Rock. And it really brought us together with some of the indigenous people there, our neighbors, our friends, our relatives in that community. Also, of course, our founders, Denise O'Brien, has become a good friend of mine. She is wonderful at showing what an alternative agriculture farming method can be and why we need that. And she's just done a wonderful thing in that, but she's also showed us here in WFAN, as others have, especially Jules, what you just mentioned, how this is also an international issue of our food and our agriculture system, how we're all connected. I think through WFAN, I've been able to really broaden and more clearly define my worldview about how all of us, wherever we're from, whatever background we have, whatever, all of our diversities, we're all connected, and we're all connected to nature. And I really appreciate WFAN for bringing us all together. Thank you.
Thank you. That was awesome. Denise, I see you were able to make it. Can you give us a few words of what was going through your head 28 and 25 years ago, and why you continue to support WFAN today?
Well, I have to say that, I stepped away from WFAN in 2006. And so here we are. And I felt personally, I had taken the organization as far as I could take it. There were others that could do, take it further. And I also decided that if no one took it further, then it had played its role and what it was needed. So you can understand how proud I am to know that it still exists, and we're 25 years old. And it's, the women who started it, we just, we met together in church camps and state park camping grounds that had squeaky mattresses, squeaky springs in their mattresses, and we just had consciousness raisings all, and decided that we would make the goals and objectives and everything that we needed to. And then, and then we started looking for funds, and the United Methodist Women were really right there. They helped us start the Women Landowners Fund. We had just, I'm trying to remember in the beginning, but I've got files. I'm trying to get my files in order, but the biggest supporter of all during that time was my husband, Larry Harris, because I wasn't bringing any income in, and Larry was going to work every day. And so I always have to give him credit for, really helping us get off the ground. And funding is like, this is really up and down. It's a roller coaster. Grantors decide what they're going to, what the trend is. And well, this year it's not women in politics. Next year it might be. And so to keep up with that sort of thing is very difficult. And so this fundraising, which I will contribute when I get off my little soapbox, is really important to have non-specified funding, and so for general use, so that and I found this on all the boards. I've served on several boards, and it's that general fund that really is really hard to get. Grantors want projects, and they want results from projects, and they'll give you $1 million, but you have to spend that $1 million on exactly what specifically what it says in the grant body. And so it's really important and really hard to raise that money for just general use. So anyway, I am very proud of the organization. We had a small Iowa regional meeting last night and had good conversation, which I'll follow up with the staff about things that people like and people, what women would like to see. It was like a focus group. And so we had a good conversation, and we had good storytelling. And I think, let's see, we ranged in age from, and this is what I've always liked about Women, Food and Agriculture Network, we ranged in age from, I'd say, mid-20s to 87. So Donna came, who was 87. I met her during the farm crisis, and that was where my awakening was where I had my awakening about women's role in agriculture. So thank you all for being here. It's a wonderful group. I see a lot of people I know. I see people I don't know. But the fact that we're national and international is very critical, because we're all in this together. So push that, click on that button for the fundraiser and make your donation now. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Denise. And thank you for your time and talent, as well as the treasure. I can't tell you how much we appreciate that. You always show up for us, and there's no words. So thank you, thank you. And also want to give a shout out to Angie Carter, Stephanie, and I'm going to Bergiani, Deb Fink, Peg Buska, Renee Hansen, all of you who have just recently donated as well. I can't thank you enough. This is wonderful. Piper, do you want to give us a quick update?
Yeah, I will just share my screen quick and show you kind of where we're at with our numbers here. But we are like just over 25% of the way there. And, today's the first day of our full conference. So this is feeling really good to be able to show that off. But let me see if I can get this shared up here for you. Can you see that? Is it full screen?
It is. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so we're filling up this flower here because we thought a thermometer was a little not quite on the mark for our organization, and a flower fits like the work that we're doing. Starts really from the ground up, and we're seeding community together. And so, yeah, we're more than 25% of the way there. I would love to hear some more folks' stories if they want to share them, because it's truly so inspirational to hear the roots of WFAN.
Absolutely. Ruth, I saw that you're in the meeting, so I know you've done so much for us in terms of time, talent, and treasure. Are you comfortable sharing a little bit of why you stay connected to WFAN?
You're talking to Ruth Rabinowitz?
I am talking to Ruth Rabinowitz.
I'm in the dark here because it's backlit in my office. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, I mean, I met Lee Adcock at the Eco Farm conference at Asilomar in California. I don't even know, was it like maybe 8 or 10 years ago? And that launched me getting my self-esteem together and community to become the farm manager and take that job away from kind of corporate America farm managers, the big nut names you all know. And it gave me that confidence and community to do that. And I've been able to turn the whole business around and the farms around slowly but surely. I don't know, it's really invaluable. I love my WFAN, and I'm in the Jean Eels group with landowners. I'm in landowners and very active in that, getting coaching on how to talk about the work that I do to the media, to different speaking events, learning about all kinds of funding through USDA and other programs. It's just been such an invaluable thing. And I'm sorry, I'm backlit here. It's just an awful Zoom thing. But anyway, I hope that's helpful. I did get to go to Denise's farm, and that was fantastic to see her new buildings and her greenhouse. And I've just started my lasagna garden in Iowa, where I have solarized the land for the weeds. Then I have a layer of cardboard, wet that down, a layer of horse manure from my neighbor, wet that down, and a layer of wood chips. And so that's all biodegrading and becoming wonderful earth this winter for a food garden. And and I just attended the earlier session on kind of seed saving, seed exchanges, free food, got really excited about that. Because I know that our little plot there is going to be way too big for 2 people. And so there's so much cross-pollination in this group and so many ideas, and it's just great not to feel like a silo, right? On your own, that's just not happening because of these groups like WFAN. So my 2 cents.
Oh, thank you so much. That's perfect. I really appreciate everything you've done. And Denise put in the chat, I don't know if you saw it, Ruth has done incredible work on her farms, and she loves having her passion to the land. And I completely echo that. I also see that Alice McGarry, I don't know if you're here, if you're able to talk. Alice, just to be able to give a quick shout out to you as one of our women, Harvesting Our Potential mentors. Can you just tell us a little bit about your connection to WFAN? I don't know if Alice is able to come off mute. Nope. Okay. Well, I'll come back to Alice. There you go. But she thinks the WFAN is awesome. Great. And I don't know, Angie, are you able to come off of mute? Because that would be awesome to hear from you as well, because you've been mentioned a number of times by across a number of people. So it would be great to hear your story and your connection to WFAN.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Angie Carter. I'm an associate professor at Michigan Tech up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and serve on the Women Food and Ag Network board, and first got involved in 2010 when I moved back to Iowa for graduate school and was feeling really isolated in the activism I was doing that was causing a lot of, just negative repercussions and things on my campus for me and the women I was organizing with, and being able to connect with Women Food and Ag Network and to have mentors and teachers in agricultural activism like Denise, like Patty, like Sylvia Spalding, who's on the call, who are all very active in organizing for a more fair and just food and ag system, was just really so helpful for me in my work and in my life. And as a person, I really appreciate all that I've learned from the folks who are doing things on the ground, like Ruth and Alice, working on healing the land and making different types of farm and farm opportunities available. And it's been really important to me to maintain connection with this network, especially as I moved up to the Upper Peninsula, because I find, to no surprise to so many of you, that the people who are doing really creative things up here are also women. And so I saw Ashley on here. I know there's others involved with the food system up here that might be joining the WFAN conference this weekend. And so it's been really great to be able to continue my community beyond Iowa just through the strong network of women who are leading change through agricultural activism and farming. It's so important that we keep building these networks and providing support for each other. So I thank WFAN for making that space and teaching me how to help create this space as I continue on as a teacher and an educator and a learner and an activist.
Thank you, Angie. That's amazing. And Angie's, her work has been so inspiring to me. Every time I read one of her papers, I just want to, a million thoughts go through my head of like, oh, we could do this and we could do that. And she offered up her expertise this upcoming year. And we're so excited to be able to plug into that and hopefully work on some projects together. So we're very excited to work with you and continue to work with you, Angie, and for all of your support as a board member and guider. So I appreciate that. And Piper let me know also that some more folks have come out. North Harvest CSA, Denise, of course, you had mentioned as a donor, and Joanne Sustachek and Sylvia Spalding. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. And I just wanted to, oh wow, we're sitting at $950 right now. We're almost halfway there. Thank you. Oh my God, your generosity is amazing. And I appreciate you all so much. I did call out Hawa. Hawa Varney is the Executive Director of Women for Sustainable Development. And I'm butchering that. Swasudav is the acronym, and they're in Liberia, in Africa. And it's a very parallel organization in many ways. Hawa started her organization Wasudav in response to women's disempowerment by not being able to own land or not being able to work the land and feed their families, and so we're often victims of domestic violence in Liberia and sexual assault. And so she started Wasudav, and they are growing crops and they are keeping bees, which is one of the things that we consult on every month or so, helping her with her apiaries. And so Hawa, do you want to just give a little shout out to Wasudav and talk about our relationship to WFAN?
Thank you so much, Juliet, and to the rest of the amazing team there at WFAN. I'm so excited to be here. This is my second time attending the conference. I remember last year I was a speaker, and today again we are here participating. So WFAN has been so amazing working with us here in Liberia, West Africa, with the Women in Agriculture for Sustainable Development. So this is a non-for-profit that supports women who are at risk to gender-based violence, domestic violence, and all of that. So we work with them. We do gardening, we do small farms, and we are also into beekeeping. So currently we have also started to add value to some of our products, produce from the farm. So our relationship with WFAN has been very, very good. Julius and her team, especially with working on the beekeeping initiative, we have been learning and sharing, and that has gone for almost a year. So I want to say thank you to your team. We from Liberia, the women are really happy for the support that we continue to receive from WFAN. Indeed, this is a global, I don't know how to say it, but we are very happy that we all the way here, the women in the rural communities of Boone County, can feel the presence of WFAN as far back as there in the US. So I want to say thank you so much. And one thing I want to inform them that I was there, and Judith and I met personally. So I was so excited to meet her when I went as a Mandela Washington Fellow in the US, where I was in Indiana. So thank you so much, Julius. You drove very, very far to come and see me at Purdue. I want to say thank you to the team, and we look forward to collaborating more. This is what we call about women's solidarity. When we stand together, we are able to change the world. We are able to contribute to make each other better. I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to say these few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Hoa. No, I am so inspired by the work that you do every day and the challenges that you overcome, and it's just amazing. I can't say enough, and I was so excited to meet you this summer. Hawa was an award winner, a fellowship award winner, and so she came out to Purdue in Indiana, and I happened to be in the Midwest at that time, and I was like, I'm gonna make that road trip, and it was the best thing that I did. And so we talked honey, and we talked development, and we talked just life. So it was wonderful meeting you in person, Hawa, and I hope to be able to meet you in person in Liberia someday. To meet up in Liberia, that would be wonderful. Also wanted to give a shout out to Lindsay Gachar and Shannon Donley. We are at over $1,000 right now for the thing. So I'm really excited that we're bringing all these unrestricted funds to WFAN so we can expand our work, and really looking forward to what we're going to be doing over the next 2 to 3 years. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know that we have to shift over to our award presentation, and I want to do that really quick here. Let me pull up my award presentation speech. Hang on. Okay. So it is my honor, my great honor, to present the 2022 WFAN Conference Recognition Award to our amazing friend, collaborator, and inspiration, Zafreen Hansen. For those of you who don't know Zafreen, she's a force to be reckoned with, a force of nature. Unfortunately, she had a conflict for this presentation. However, for those of you who don't know her, Zafreen Hansen has spent 8 years as an Air Force photojournalist and has a 20-year background in media communications and public relations. After completing a life-changing therapeutic farm program for veterans in 2017, Zafreen and her husband and 3 children pivoted to the Colorado agricultural community, creating Hamden Farms, a suburban farm offering sustainable farming solutions, organic production, and small batch artisanal products made from natural ingredients. And those products are amazing. So if you get a chance, check it out. They're lovingly grown and conscientiously sourced. From seed to sale, they promote creativity and innovation across producers and providers, while encouraging conscious consumption in wholesale products and wholesome products that are simply good for your mind, body, and soul. The primary goal for Hamden Farms is to strengthen the local food system's capacity through diverse retail and wholesale products preserved and crafted from local growers and farmers, creating year-round revenue sources and avoiding lost income. Additionally, Hamden Farms amplifies and supports the work of local community organizations who advocate for food equity and community wealth building. Hamden Farms has a partnership with the Denver Botanical Gardens Chatfield Farms, focusing on the lavender fields, growing, caring, and creating a value-add product from a single-use field. Zafreen started her relationship with Denver Botanical Gardens when she attended the Veterans to Farmers program, and continues to work with them in helping other veterans transition into the agricultural space, which is such a needed transition. Zafreen is currently creating content on LinkedIn as one of the 100 members of the inaugural members of the LinkedIn Content Creators Accelerator program, and her content is focused on farming and its many intersections and alignments. Zafreen has blessed WFAN with her immense talent and high in-demand time over the past 2 years, including providing webinars, serving on panels, and facilitating across myriad topics. Many of you have met her through those webinars, panels, and facilitation. We will have a page dedicated to her on our website, where you can revisit those recordings and get links to her vast social media networks. Huge congratulations, Zafreen. I hope you see this soon, and thank you for all you do. And I believe that's it for this session. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're going to hear more about, you can continue to donate even after this session. Of course, our donation campaign is going to run through the end of the session. And so I hope you're as excited as we are for the amazing content that's coming up. Piper put the donation link again in the chat. And thank you so much. And